Hey, welcome back to another cheapo review, and guess what? It's not a multimeter, it's another soldering station. 2 soldering stations in a row. Unbelievable. I know. Today we're looking at the JCD 8908, which was graciously supplied by BANGGOOD. Thanks BANGGOOD for sending it in for this review. So this is not just a soldering station, it's also a SMD rework soldering station. We have that nice hot air nozzle gun, as well as your standard soldering iron over here. The beauty about this though is it comes in a kit. So if you're new to the world of soldering, and if you are welcome aboard, it's a lot of fun. You do get a lot of things here in the kit. You get some nice copper tips, 5 of them to be exact, and all the different variances. Really handy depending on the work you're doing. They give you solder. Now this is unleaded solder. I'm not a big fan of it. I use leaded most of the time. But irregardless, they give you a nice big roll of solder. 3 extra hot air nozzles, depending on the work you're doing. Once again, we have high airflow, medium, and a low airflow. You also get a really decent copper wire ball. I prefer this over the sponge any day. Nice and good way to clean those tips, keep them free from corrosion. So included with the kit as well. Finally, what else do you get? You got a solder sucker. Where's that? So there you go. There's the sucker I was talking about. These are great. I love them. You know what? Old school, maybe, but hot diggity dang, you can one-hand it all day long with these suckers. Get your minds out of the gutter. And yeah, these are just, oh, love them. Love them. So there you go. Good stuff. And also you get some soldering rosin. It comes in a box. And depending on what you're doing, once again, this is very nice stuff. Makes that solder flow very nice. And lest I forget, you get a really sweet pair of ESD tweezers. These are really nice. They have that tip on the end, which is a bit of an angle. Great for working with really small components in awkward places. These will come in super handy, and they have some nice weight to them. They're not as cheap and cheesy as some of the tweezers you can get with kits. All in all, pretty sweet. So generally speaking, first time off, new to the world of soldering, this looks, up front at least, like a pretty decent way to go. One thing you want to make sure is when you order a soldering station like this from BANGGOOD, make sure you're getting the correct input voltage for your region. In the back of the unit, we have a nice 10 amp fuse, which is easily accessible. It's not soldered to the main board like that last unit I reviewed. No, this one, if you blow it, you can really swap it out with little difficulty. That's a bonus. It just pulls out from beneath there, and I'll demonstrate that shortly. You can put that heating nozzle on either end. You do have those open inserts. I chose this end just because the hot air nozzle control is here on the right hand side, so it makes sense to me to put it adjacent. Now, in terms of fit and finish, I gotta say this is really, really good. Now, we're talking about 95 bucks or so Canadian, around 75, 80 US. So it's definitely not cheap, but you know, and maybe it's not the most exciting out there either. This style has been around for a while. But, I mean, the quality of the metal, the chassis itself, really nicely done. The paint job is excellent. There's no weird scratches going on. And generally, it's pretty sweet looking. I gotta say, overall, impressed. Probably a little bit better than I was expecting. Right now it says OP, which stands for open, because we have not connected any of our tools. So let's just do that right off the get-go. We have that 3-pin DIMM connector over here, and we're just gonna install it like so. Easy breezy. Screw it in, and as well, same thing for the hot air gun. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-pin, and it's just gonna go in like so. It's got a little head here at the top, so it's pretty hard to... Oh, it's on right now, so let's just put it back in the nozzle. And let's probably turn it off while we're hooking things up. Always a good thing. Good grief. And there we are. Do what I just did and plug in that soldering iron with the unit being on. Look at that. We got a meltdown because there was a nice plastic or acrylic housing to protect that soldering head, and I just screwed it up. Let's check that earth to ground, just make sure everything is copacetic in the safety department. So I'm going to put my test lead on that ground, plug in the back, and let's just see what we've got here. And there we are, that's the ground. So yeah, 0.17 of an ohm, definitely looks good. Throw it on continuity, just to, there you go. So we're grounded nice and safe. Now what we'll do is we will plug in the soldering iron, and we'll just make sure that that soldering iron tip is also grounded. Okay, so we've got the negative on the ground, and let's just see. Yeah, we're good. So safety-wise, no issues here. I didn't think so. Looking good. That soldering iron base is a metallic, but it is very, very thin. Very, very thin. Wow. You'd almost think it was plastic, but it's not. It is metallic, but just super thin. So, you know, it's light. It's going to get moved around again when you move that iron. Okay, let's power the unit on. Hot air gun and the soldering iron. Remember that temperature control is on the iron itself. Now, as soon as we lift that hot air gun, the unit turns on. Yeah, that's definitely hot. And there's our temperature right now. Once again, this is a digital temperature control. So here we are bringing up that temperature. So fairly fast to get up there. Let's try 500 degrees. 480, okay, that is the max, 480. And yeah, that is pretty quick to heat up. Now we have a set button here as well. If I want to keep that temperature, I'm going to hit F10. And now we are always going to get that temperature. So even if I shut it down, now we'll turn the unit on from a cold start. You see the pre-configured temp showed up initially, and wow, that is really fast. So that hot air temp does not take long, 5 seconds maybe at max, so excellent. And that was a cold start. This unit was turned off for about 45 minutes. Excellent. Put it back on. Now it's going to decrease that temperature until it hits 100 degrees or so Celsius. And then it's going to turn off. Excellent. So, I mean, in terms of the operability of that hot air gun, the on-off mechanism works really, really well. Remember, once that temperature goes below 100 degrees Celsius, you're basically in standby mode when the handle's on the holder like that. So it's a safety thing and definitely a good thing to have. So let's take a look at the soldering iron now. Interesting. Unlike a lot of soldering stations, this one does not have that temperature control on the station itself. No, it's right there on the soldering iron. We have our minus and our plus. That's obviously the up or down for the adjustable temperature control. But you don't do it from the station. But you still have to turn it on. So turn it on. Now we've got power. Now you can see we're sitting at 347 degrees. Now, funny enough, in the documentation, nowhere does it mention how powerful the iron is. But suffice to say, I believe this is an 80-watt iron. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is pushing out 80 watts. Okay, so right now we're sitting at 347 degrees. I'll try and get it a little bit closer. 347, no backlight on here, so it can be hard to see depending on the viewing angle, but 347 is where we're at. Let's just compare that to the digital thermometer and see how it is in terms of temperature accuracy. Here we go with that copper tip. Temperature is increasing. Should be looking at 347 degrees, and we're getting there, 326, 27. And once again, in my experience, as long as you're within 15 to 20 degrees Celsius accuracy, I think you're doing pretty good, but this seems to be better. So 347 is what we're showing on the iron, and it's coming up as around 340 degrees. 341, 42. Oh yeah. Excellent. So we have got a fairly, we've got a pretty accurate system here. 340, now it's going a little bit higher, 348, 349, 350. So we're overshooting a bit. It's around 355 degrees. So about, between 5 to 10 degrees Celsius difference. Hey, excellent. No worries here. Well within standards. And, that's better than I expected, really. Now, it is a little weird to have that temperature control on the iron. Am I a fan of it? Probably not. When I have a soldering station set up, I'd rather be looking at the display on here as opposed to being on the iron. But, that's what you're getting with this unit, so get used to it. Alrighty, next up, temperature accuracy for that hot air gun. Let's go. I've got the Klein out here attached with my thermal couple, and let's see how close we can get. Let's see here. So we're preset to 333 degrees. Let's just bring that right down. And it's heating up pretty quick. And we're getting close to that 300 marker. Hopefully we'll be in around 5 to 10 degrees or so, I hope. Now, one thing that is a bit of a pain is we don't have an air adjustment knob on this hot air station, so I can't control that airflow. Sucks, I gotta say. When it comes to hot air stations, having that adjustable airflow makes a huge difference, but in this case, we don't have it. Oh, there we are. All right, moving up. Yeah, so we're pretty close. We're off by about 8 to 10 degrees. All in all, hey, not bad. Once again, though, it is a shame that we don't have that hot air adjust here on the 8908. Oh, man. Now, unfortunately, the documentation that comes with the JCD 8908 is absolutely the pits. Yeah, it's crap. Obviously, we have a calibration mode here. Nothing in the documentation even touches on the calibration mechanism at all. But really what you have is a pot inside. It's adjustable. You use your screwdriver. Obviously, it's got to be small, thin. Put it in there and adjust your temperature either up or down, depending on how accurate or inaccurate it is. It's a little messy, and honestly, unless it's something really mission critical, I would probably say don't bother. At the bottom of the unit, you've got these sort of rubber gaskets that just seal those enclosures like so. Honestly, they're a bit of a pain, and I just yank the suckers off and be done with it. Now, if you replace a fuse on the unit and you forget to put the fuse holder back in, turn it on, guess what? You're okay, nothing's gonna happen. Whew. Alright, let's try taking off a small component here. Try out that hot air gun, shall we? I'm gonna go after this diode right over here. Here we go. Always a good idea to move that gun around. Now, normally I'll put Kapton tape over the PCB here, but well, I just negated that for this review. And look at that. Easy, breezy, comes off. Next up, we're going to try the soldering iron. Turn it on. It is already on. You can see that red LED. Alright, so I've got that nice copper tip on, and let's just see how it does. Oh yeah, just like butter, No worries here. I gotta say, I'm liking these tweezers that ship with the unit. Very nice. Never want to pull up on a component because you'll probably take out that trace as well, so just be delicate. And there you go. So no worries there. All right, now let's go ahead and resolder this component back on. Sitting at 347 degrees once again. Honestly, having a hot air station, I really prefer to be looking at the station than at the iron. And when you're soldering, it can get a little awkward at times if you want to check that temperature. Anyway, here we go. And voila. So really no worries with the iron. Keeps a good constant temperature and it heats up fast. All in all, looks pretty sweet. 4 simple Phillips screws gets us into the inside, and you can see really not that much going on. I mean, we have a hollow shell. This thing could definitely be a lot smaller than it is. Look at that. Wow. Yeah, so a lot of space going on here. Now, we do have those air vents in the back, which is good. I don't know, honestly, how hot this is going to really run. I mean, the hot air nozzle gun itself, everything, all that heat is coming out of this unit, not here. So, I mean, you're going to get some heat naturally from conductance, but it's not going to be anything crazy. So, but nonetheless, we have some vents. Not a bad thing. In the back, way down there, you can see our little IEC connector. And look at the heat shrinking. It is in there really nicely. Some good heat shrink going on. I love it. I love it. In fact, this entire assembly, not just there, but I mean, if you look at the connectors here, look at that. Really, really well done. So excellent quality here. Good attention to detail. Look at the PCB on this. This is a double layer PCB. A gorgeous blue, actually. And absolutely clean, sparkling. This is a very nicely fabricated unit. We do have one small transformer, obviously, right over here. Now that's just to power the electronics itself, has nothing to do with the heater. Front of the display is metal and 2 millimeters thick at that. Excellent. So good attention to detail. Once again, not some cheesy, cheapy plastic going on here. No, we have a nice metal, sturdy front panel because, this is going to be getting pushed a lot. And not everybody is so easy breezy when it comes to their electronics. Good stuff. As well, right below that, we have our 7-segment LED display right here. And that is what has given us that nice LED readout. As well with the unit, we don't have any sharp edges whatsoever, so no worries about taking off a finger here. And on the back, I was mentioning we have that fuse here. It's just inside the top. If you blow a fuse, no worries. Take a screwdriver, plop it out like so, and easy breezy change. Look at that. We even get a spare fuse with the unit. They gave us one extra 10 amp fuse. Gotta love it. Okay, gonna put it back together, come back with my closing thoughts. Closing thoughts on the JCD 8908. Hey, this one, for me at least, is a mixed bag. There's good and there's bad. In the end, it's sort of a trade-off. The good things, hey, let's face it, this is a well put together unit. The exterior looks pretty sweet, has that nice matte black, and all in all, fit and finish is really excellent. In terms of that soldering iron, I gotta say I'm not a big fan of having that temperature control on the iron itself. Because we're dealing with a station, I really prefer to see the temperature control for the soldering iron on the station as well. Hot air gun, wow, this thing is really sweet. Heats up fast, cools down fast, and the temperature seems to be really accurate. Speaking of temperature, that calibration mode, it's kind of messy, and if you don't have to calibrate it, like I said earlier, don't even. All in all, I think it's a pretty good deal for 85, 90 bucks Canadian, around 75 US. A lot of stuff in the kit to get a new starter to the world of soldering on their way. The JCD 8908 gets a solid 3 out of 5 stars. Hey, thanks for watching this review, everybody. Lots more coming. Wow, spring is in the air. Till the next one, keep on testing.